Do you hear that stupid bird? Can't get a shot without hearing it. Shut up! Hello viewers, this is a camera, and this is a bucket of water. Now don't worry, that is a waterproof action camera, and it only cost me $40, far less than any GoPro that you could want. But at $40, does the quality match a GoPro? So the Vivitar DVR786 HD is a camera that costs $40 brand new and $20 used. At that price point, it's easily one of the cheapest action cameras money can buy. But just because it's cheap doesn't mean that you should buy it. I know that $40 price tag is very tempting for someone who wants to start a YouTube channel or they need an action camera, but don't buy it. This camera sucks. Now before I get into what I like and dislike, let me just give you a few specs on the camera. The camera claims to shoot Full HD at 1080p at 30 frames per second. The camera also claims to be 12 megapixels for photo taking. It's a waterproof action camera with quite a few accessories that come in the box. I don't have any of those because I didn't buy the camera new, but it does come with some accessories if you were to buy it new. Finally, the camera requires a micro SD card in order to shoot photo or video. Now let's get started with what I like about the camera, and there isn't that much I like. For starters, I really like how there's a tripod mount on the camera itself. This is something that GoPro doesn't even put on their cameras, and I really like that it's here, because I can connect it to a tripod when I want to record video. Another thing I really like is how simple it is. Just turn it on, press record, and you're recording. That's it. It's really not difficult to use. That's all the positives out of the way. Now let's talk about the negatives. Let's get started with my biggest negative with the camera. The video quality is garbage. It claims to record 1080p at 30 frames per second, but in my testing it's closer to 720p at 15 frames per second. Now I do understand that it's Vivitar and it's a budget camera, but this is just pathetic. Now, another thing I don't like, if you want to record audio with this camera, you can just forget about doing that when the camera's in its case. The microphone quality is bad when it's out of the case, but in the case there's no audio at all. The video is also really shaky, which is understandable for a budget camera, but that's not something you want to see with an action camera. Another thing I really hate about this camera is the build quality. You'd think that because it's an action camera, it would be durable, but no, mine arrived with a weird rattling sound in it. Just take a listen. The camera also feels incredibly cheap, like I could probably crush this thing in my hand if I wanted to. That's still not the biggest issue though. By far, my biggest issue with this camera is the fact that it isn't a wide-angle lens. When you're using an action camera, you really need a wide-angle lens, so that way you can capture everything. But this so-called action camera will miss a lot of the action you're trying to record, because there is no wide-angle lens to be found. Right, now here is a recording out of the case. As you can see, there is audio. Keep in mind this is 1080p at 30 frames per second. It doesn't look like it. Alright, let's give out some camera ratings. In terms of photo taking, I've definitely seen worse. The photos that you take on this device won't win any awards, but they aren't terrible. I'll give the photo taking ability a 7 out of 10. Video taking is a much different story. And now, it works okay for recording underwater, but there's no sound and the video is incredibly shaky. The best I can give it is a 2 out of 10. In terms of connectability, this camera really surprised me. Anything with a tripod mount is compatible with this camera, so you can put this thing on a bike, in a car, or just on a tripod. So for physical connectivity, the camera is nice. In terms of digital connectivity, you can forget about that. You can't connect it via Bluetooth, you can't connect it via Wi-Fi. And considering the price, that isn't shocking, but it's pretty inconvenient. Overall, I'd give connectability about a 6 out of 10. So in the end, what are my final thoughts? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and give the camera a 3 out of 10. Photo taking and connectability are decent, but you don't buy an action camera to take photos or to connect it to a tripod. You buy an action camera to take videos. And sadly, the Vivitar DVR 786 HD fails at this. So on that terrible disappointment, thank you all so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.